Welcome to another episode of BS. Hope you guys are having a great day. Man, it's been a long time since I uploaded a video. It's been at least 2 weeks. I had to take a mini break. I had a lot of things going on. I have school going on, and my school's starting to start back up, and I have work and stuff. So I had a lot of things going on. So I hope you guys could understand the mini break. As this is the amount of time I'm going to be taking breaks. If I do end up taking another break, I would be at least taking another 2 week break. Also, we're having technical difficulties. That's another reason why I wasn't able to upload a video as fast as I usually do. And my camera, I have a couple things not working, so I have to use the computer camera for at least quite a while. It shouldn't be that long. I'm getting new equipment, new software soon. At least I have audio. Audio is the most important thing for a podcast. So I mean, that as long as you can hear me properly, and I'm still using the same microphone as I always use, that's the most important thing. So it's gonna be like this for quite a while. I'm gonna be using my laptop camera for a little bit. You've seen this background before. I had this background 10 episodes ago, so a couple episodes might be with this background. You've seen it before, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I do have good audio, so that's important. I'm on episode 17 right now. Hopefully I can get to episode 20 really soon, because I want to review Madden 21, and Madden 21 comes out in a couple days, so on the 25th. So hopefully I can get to episode 20 before August 25th, before Madden 21 comes out, because I will be reviewing Madden 21 before it comes out. Do a review, see how I think of it, because I wasn't a fan of Madden 20, and I want to do a review on Madden 21. I play the Maddens, unfortunately. Hopefully Madden 21 will be good. Hopefully, because Madden 20 has a lot of issues. I have a lot of issues with Madden 20, and I haven't heard that many great things from Madden 21 so far. So I'm gonna be reviewing Madden 21 the day it comes out. I have it pre-ordered. I'm going to be picking it up as soon as I can. I will be reviewing it as soon as possible. So I'm going to be doing a lot of episodes. Hopefully I can get to episode 20 before Madden 21 comes out, because that's my main goal for right now, and that's the plan basically. I'm not going to be taking any more breaks. I can't make any promises. At most, I'm going to be taking at least another 2 week break at some point. If I end up taking more breaks, I do apologize for taking a break. I know my channel has been growing a lot. It's been growing slowly. I recently gained quite a few subscribers, and I'm really happy about that. And I just stopped recording due to technical difficulties and just a lot of stuff going on. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully that won't be happening again. And now that I'm done talking about what's been going on, what's the plan moving forward, now let's move on to topic number 1. And keep in mind, I did have this episode planned weeks ago. I had this episode planned quite a while ago, and I just wasn't able to film due to what I've said already. So keep in mind with some of the topics, these are really old news. Hopefully I can be talking about the newer news soon, because I don't have those episodes planned. So I'm doing the episodes I already have planned. I had 2-3 episodes planned already before my stuff started to go wrong and things been going on. So just keep that in mind. So topic number 1, if you haven't seen it, the first interview with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky. They had an interview, and I saw the interview between Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky. If you don't know, they are the quarterbacks for the Chicago Bears currently. And unfortunately, in that interview, Mitchell Trubisky already made a mistake. It was his first mistake of the year. And the NFL season hasn't even started yet, and he already made a mistake. The way he was talking, I'm going to be posting the interview in the description below. Hopefully you can check that out and you can see what I'm talking about. Let's start off with Mitch Trubisky and see. I'm going to explain to you what he did that he made a mistake on. One of the first and really bad things he made a mistake on was saying he's going to correct the wrong thing. He said he's going to work on his mechanics. His mechanics aren't even half of the reason why he sucked last year. The main reason was he made horrible decisions. Like, really bad decisions. He missed wide open throws. He couldn't make the easy reads. He also needs help on reading the defense. That's, like, I think, really important too. Mechanics, his mechanics were bad. Trust me, his mechanics were bad. That was an issue. Dude, the way he threw the ball, I could throw better than Mitch Trubisky. I don't know what happened last year. I mean, let me get something clear. He was not that great in 2018. He wasn't. I mean, he was okay, but he just became awful. He became the worst starting quarterback last year, and it was like a really bad regression. You can blame it on the offensive line, but I think the offensive line was okay at some points, and he still couldn't make the easy throws, the easy reads, and he couldn't read the defense. Saying he's going to work on his quarterback mechanics, that's just half of the issue. The main issue was making bad decisions, bad reads, and not throwing to your wide open receivers. That was his main issue. So he already made a mistake right there. He's saying he's correcting the wrong area. Maybe this will help him, but right now he is not. I just don't see him as the starting quarterback going into next year when he's fixing the wrong things and not the most important thing. The most important things he needs to fix is his decision making. That's important. Now, reading the defense isn't as important, but that is a problem that he has. His quarterback mechanics is also an issue. It is, because the way he threw the ball, I remember one play last year where he threw the ball like a middle school quarterback. He was leaning all of his weight off of his front foot, and his back foot lifted off of the air. It was the weirdest throws I've ever seen. He did a lot of the throws where he leaned so much on his front foot that his back foot was leaning back. Like, it was off the ground. It looked like he was about to fall with some of the throws he was making, and he missed those throws. So, yes, the quarterback mechanics is an issue, but his decision-making was a big problem last year. If you have okay decision-making, then maybe you can be better than Mitchell Trubisky. You know what I'm saying? And he just seemed very lost, seemed very discombobulated. And even in this interview, he doesn't seem confident that he's going to win the job. He was talking. I know interviews aren't everything. I understand that, but he was just talking like it was all about him. And he did talk about his team a lot, but he really feels the threat of Nick Foles. And he really thinks that Nick Foles is out for him in a lot of ways. You could just tell by his presence. Even when the way he reacted when Nick Foles got traded to the Bears, it wasn't in a positive light. Like, I gotta say, Marcus Mariota handled the him being benched in a positive light. Mitchell Trubisky, he's just taking everything the wrong way. He needs to understand he hasn't proven himself. He did make it through the playoffs in 2018, but he wasn't that great in 2018 as well. He's the reason why the Bears lost in that game. And a lot of people in the 2018 wildcard playoff game, a lot of people blamed the kicker because he did do a double doink. He did. But Mitchell Trubisky was horrible in that playoff game. He missed easy throws. And that's just, you can't do that as the starting quarterback. I would understand if you're the backup, but you're the starter. You're the franchise guy. And you missed easy throws. Nick Foles is the guy who can make those throws. I mean, seriously, Mitch, even in 2018 you had issues, and in 2019 you got exposed for more issues. And he does talk about he did have an injury last season that might have affected him, but way before his injury, he had issues. And his injury, I'm sure, wouldn't cause him making bad decisions. Maybe it would have affected his quarterback mechanics, but his whole career, he was making the wrong decisions, making the wrong throws, and just blatantly missing throws. He just did. He made the wrong decisions and he made the wrong throws. So, and he's had this problem his whole career. And it looks like it's not going away anytime soon. And maybe last year his injury did affect his quarterback mechanics, and that's okay. But that really isn't an excuse for you to be making the wrong decisions. Yeah, you guys get my point? In the playoff game, he missed throw after throw after throw. And then when Nick Foles came on the field, because he was up against Nick Foles made throw after throw after throw. He made those throws in important situations. Mitchell Trubisky couldn't make those throws. He wasn't clutch. He didn't have a high motor. I gotta say, the only thing that he does good is he doesn't turn over. He doesn't turn over the ball that much. But the reason why he doesn't turn over the ball that much is because he's not even close to throwing to the receivers or cornerback. Sometimes he just blatantly misses. I'm so done with Mitchell Trubisky. If you look at Nick Foles' interview, he talks about how he wants to help the team. He wants to help Mitch. He's not after Mitch's job. He blatantly says that, and it seems like Mitchell Trubisky seems like Nick Foles is still a threat. Like Nick Foles, I think Nick Foles is the guy for Chicago. He's a much better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky, and Nick Foles knows the system. He's good in this system. The system is similar to Doug Peterson, the system that he won a playoff game and a Super Bowl with, a bunch of playoff games actually, but in 2018 he won a playoff game, almost won another one in 2018 if it wasn't for Alshon Jeffrey dropping that ball. But I'm saying, if you guys know what I'm talking about the past. But I'm saying that Nick Foles is really good in that system. Nick Foles, I hate to say this, he's a systematic quarterback. I love Nick Foles. I will always love Nick Foles for winning the Super Bowl. He is a systematic quarterback. It's just the way he is. Here's the thing. Carson Wentz. Let's talk about Carson Wentz real quick. All right. Okay, so Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Nick Foles. But Nick Foles is a better quarterback in the Eagles system. So I feel like Nick Foles is a better quarterback for the Eagles, but overall Carson Wentz is a better quarterback. You understand what I'm saying? But Nick Foles is a good quarterback without that system, though. He still is a good quarterback. He's clutch. He's still clutch. He still makes throws when it counts the most. That you can't blame. You can't say that's the system. You know what I'm saying? That you can't say that that's him. That's not the system's work. But he does play the best in a system like Andy Reid's, like Doug Peterson's, like Matt Nagy's. They're all part of the same branch. You know what I'm saying? Doug Peterson, Matt Nagy, they all worked for Andy Reid. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's all kind of the same system. It's all connected. It's all the same roots. You know what I mean? Matt Nagy, he really worked with Andy Reid, so he implemented Andy Reid's system. So it's a similar system, and Doug Peterson, same way. So it's going to be a similar system to what it was when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. And he also worked with Matt Nagy really personally down in Kansas City when Nick Foles was the backup quarterback for a little bit. So, but still, Nick Foles looks like 10 times the leader Mitchell Trubisky could ever be. I know when I was writing this episode, training camp hasn't started yet. It's already started. I guess I should talk about that a little bit when in this conversation. He made more mistakes. There was another interview that he made. I might talk about that in another episode because I didn't have that planned. But he messed up there too, and their teammates, the receiving core and the running backs, they really talked really highly of Nick Foles, and that's because if you look at training camp, Nick Foles is actually throwing the ball better, and it looks like he just knows things, knows the defense, knows how to read the defense better, knows the offense a lot better than Mitchell Trubisky does. You know what I mean? So I don't think Nick Foles is going to be, oh my God, great down in Chicago, because they still do have a lot of issues. Like the offensive line isn't that great. The receiving core is okay. Allen Robinson is a great receiver, one of the best in the NFL, because he somehow managed to pull up 1,000-yard season like in a row with Blake Bortles and Mitch Trubisky as the quarterback. So Allen Robinson is a pretty good wide receiver. I'm sure Nick Foles and Allen will have such a great time together, you know what I mean? Because Allen Robinson never had a great NFL QB, and somehow he's managed to have 1,000-yard consistently. You know what I mean? So, and they also have tight end Jimmy Graham, which might be also another suitable option for Nick Foles if he ends up starting. Yes, and if you look at, like I was saying, the interview I'm going to be posting in the description below, he has the presence of a quarterback. He has the presence of being a great leader. He is a really good leader, Nick Foles. I got to give him credit on that. Unfortunately, in Jacksonville, Nick Foles' leadership, his style of leadership didn't fit well in Jacksonville because they like the Gardner Minshew's wacky attitude leadership better than Nick Foles, which is understandable. He just didn't fit into that locker room. He fit really well with the Eagles locker room, though. He really did. Even when he was with Chip Kelly, they always said he was a great leader. You know what I mean? So he is a great leader, and I'm sure he's better than he's gonna be really good for that franchise. I think he could win comeback player of the year. I really think he could. I think he's a really big candidate for comeback player of the year. Because I think if Nick Foles starts and he leads his team to the playoffs, they're going to kick it into gear. And if the defense ends up being as good as it was in 2018, then the Bears are going to be a scary team going into next year if Nick Foles is starting, which I'm sure he will. But just look at that interview with Nick Foles. Look how he talks about the team more instead of himself. He talks about how it's not a quarterback competition. Mitchell Trubisky does talk about it's a quarterback competition a little bit. I do got to give Mitch credit that he did compliment the quarterback room. He did compliment a little bit, but Nick Foles was talking about everyone else more than himself. And he was saying all the right things, and you don't have to be. Now I'm just saying this is just a mistake that Mitch made, and Nick Foles did not make a mistake in this situation. That doesn't mean that this has nothing to do with how they're gonna play. I'm just saying that Mitchell Trubisky already made a mistake. That's all I'm trying to get at with this. He already made a mistake before the season even started, and it's just a mistake. You know, I mean, quarterbacks mess up in the interviews. Players mess up in the interviews all the time, and that doesn't mean they're a bad player. Most recent example I can think of is Nigel Bradham saying that he's finally with a winning franchise, even though he was with the Eagles and he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. So I don't know what he was talking about, but he's still a great player, and I'm sad that the Eagles didn't re-sign him, but now he's with the Saints. That's a topic for another time. Yeah, so that's another example of great NFL. I mean, of an NFL player making a mistake in an interview. I'm just saying that he made a mistake before the season even started, and it's not looking like it's a great sign for Mitchell Trubisky, and that's all I gotta say about that. Yeah, all in all, Mitch Trubisky made a mistake before the NFL season even started, which is crazy. I know when I wrote this episode, this was in the beginning of August, so he made a mistake in the beginning of August. All right. Okay, moving on. Topic number 2. Are the Patriots in trouble? They have like 9 players opting out, and this is getting a little much now. I do think it's not a big deal. I don't think it has anything to do with the Patriots organization themselves. I just think they're worried about endangering their family and friends. But are they in trouble now? Is this going to impact what my prediction was and how they're going to play next year? I don't think so. I think Bill Belichick, if any NFL head coach was in this situation, I feel like the best head coach to handle this situation would be Bill Belichick, and he is in this situation. A bunch of players are opting out. Key players are opting out. I think Bill Belichick is going to be able to find an undrafted free agent guy, a rusty free agent somewhere, and make them a star player. That's what he does. That's what Bill Belichick does best. He's able to get undrafted guys or NFL busts and make them star players. Like Stephon Gilmore was never the player he was down in Buffalo. He's nowhere near the player he was today, and it's all due to Bill Belichick. You know what I'm saying? Kyle Van Noy, the linebacker for the Patriots, who is now with the Dolphins, he was about to be a bust if Bill Belichick never picked him up and put him on the Patriots roster. So maybe he could find a sleeper player in free agency. And I'm not particularly rooting for the Patriots. I don't like the Patriots as an organization that much. They're one of my least favorite teams. Actually, I think they are my least favorite. Well, it's like tied with the Cowboys and Patriots. They are my least favorite team. But I'm not going to be biased right now. I'm just saying I try not to have biased opinions when it comes to certain players and teams. I'm just stating my honest opinion. And I think that the Patriots are not in trouble. I think Bill Belichick is going to find someone in free agency or undrafted free agent or somebody. You know what I mean? Undrafted rookie. Their backups. You know, he's going to find somebody. And he's going to make them to a star player like he always does. That's what he does best. And I'm not worried about Bill Belichick. If any other NFL head coach was in the situation, I wouldn't think that they wouldn't succeed. I think they would fail. But I think Bill Belichick will succeed in the situation with all these players opting out. Like major players are opting out. Jamie Collins. I think most recently Marquise Lee, the wide receiver, he opted out. But I think the Patriots have a really, really good wide receiver class this year. They got a really good wide receiver core. They got a really great undrafted wide receiver free agents. They got Will Hastings and Jeff Thomas, who I really like really much. I really like those wide receivers a lot. I think of them really highly. I think they're going to have a great career in the NFL and could have the potential to be great wide receivers. So I'm not worried about them. Their tight ends are pretty solid. I like the tight ends that they drafted in the third round. I know right tackle Marcus Cannon opted out. I think one of the guards are going to replace for the right tackle position. I think they're going to be all right. And they got an all right quarterback with Jarrett Stidham. I think he's going to do pretty good this year because I think he will beat out Cam Newton this year. I don't think Cam Newton will be starting. If he does start Cam Newton, then I think he's going to get injured like in the first couple of weeks like he always does, and then Jarrett Stidham's going to come in and ball out. Those are like the two scenarios I see happening. And I think this year is going to be a really big on the offense. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure for the offense to do really good. And I do believe they are going to do really good. And they also have a couple injuries with the running back position. But I think Damian Harris and Rex Burkhead are going to take that step forward and do really, really well going into next year. And James White is still there too, so he's always a pretty good running back. And I think the Patriots will be okay. I think their record might drop a little bit from my prediction. I think they might go 9-7, worst case scenario, but I do believe they are going to make the playoffs next year. I'm not that worried about the Patriots, unlike a lot of other people. I think the Patriots will be okay. They've been okay in the past, and I'm not worried. So I think they will be okay. So Patriots fans, there's no need to worry. All right, moving on to topic number 3. All right, so we're going to switch things into the Colts. All right, the Colts have a crowded quarterback room right now. They have 4 quarterbacks on their roster currently. They got their starting quarterback who they're planning on starting next year, Phillip Rivers, their backup Jacoby Brissett, who we're going to be talking about today, their possible future starting franchise quarterback with Jacob Eason. Yeah, their possible starting franchise quarterback, Jacob Eason, and then their 4th string quarterback, Chad Kelly, who's an all right quarterback. He's just okay, you know what I mean? So they got 4 quarterbacks on the roster, and that's way too many quarterbacks to be on the roster. So what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Because they're really talking highly of Jacob Eason right now, and it seems like their plan is to one day have him be the starting quarterback. So I'm sure they're going to be keeping him on their roster. Maybe he'll go on practice squad. Who really knows? We'll see how he plays in training camp. The guy we really want to focus on is Jacoby Brissett, because Chad Kelly is most likely going to be cut. But Jacoby Brissett, hopefully he stays as the backup to Phillip Rivers, because quite honestly, I could really see Jacoby Brissett at one point replacing Phillip Rivers. sometime during the season, because Philip Rivers is not a good quarterback anymore. I think at best he could be a solid backup quarterback, but I just don't see him being a starting caliber quarterback anymore in the NFL. He had a ton of interceptions, made really bad throws. His arm is really weak now, and I know he has a good offensive line. Unless he plays like Tom Brady, like throwing easy checkdowns, then I don't see Philip Rivers having an amazing year next year. I think, quite honestly, I think Jacoby Brissett is better than Philip Rivers at this moment. But Philip Rivers, it could be a solid backup quarterback moving forward. He could go somewhere else, but I just don't see him as a starting quarterback anymore. I don't think he has it. I don't think he has what it takes to be a starting quarterback anymore. Weak arm, not making good reads, and he's a shell of his former self. He threw a ton of picks last year with a pretty solid receiving core. He had Keelan Allen, and he's downgrading in receiving core, but he does have a good offensive line. So I just don't see Philip Rivers being the guy going into next year. I think Jacoby Brissett should start, even though I am a fan of Jacoby Brissett. I do feel like he could win a Super Bowl if he had like a bunch of great players all around him. I think he's almost as good as Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott is just a tiny bit better than Jacoby Brissett. I don't think he's a franchise starting quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, but I feel like he could be a solid bridge quarterback for a pretty good team. Possibly the Steelers. He could probably play pretty good with the Steelers. But he's definitely one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. I feel like he could win. He could do the Nick Foles for an NFL team. I honestly really do. Jacoby Brissett has a really good arm, pretty solid, you know. He has a pretty good arm. He has mobility, and he's actually pretty smart. Do certain things in the pocket. He knows when to throw the ball away. He's a pretty smart quarterback, you know. He has a pretty high IQ. He doesn't have what it takes to play all 16 games. He's not an important player to an NFL roster. He's not gonna help you win games. He's not gonna cause you to lose games. There are a lot of better options out there other than Jacoby Brissett. But Jacoby Brissett is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. You could say he is the best. Unless Nick Foles doesn't end up starting next year, then he's the second best. But I honestly really do. I think he should be traded. I feel bad for him I think he should get a chance to start somewhere. You know, he's definitely better than Mitchell Trubisky by far. I think he could win the Super Bowl for Chicago Bears. You know what I mean? If Dak Prescott can win, I think Dak Prescott could win a Super Bowl for an extremely good team. So if Jacoby Brissett has an extremely good team, I think he could win a Super Bowl for an NFL team. You know what I mean? He's not going to cost you plays, but he's not going to make those big plays. You know what I'm saying? So I do think Jacoby Brissett should be traded to a team that's looking for a bridge quarterback. I could see him going to the Steelers probably, and also I don't see him having a spot really on the Colts if they want to move on to Jacob Eason. You know what I mean? Because it seems like Jacoby Brissett they don't want him as the future starting franchise quarterback for the Colts franchise, so he should be traded somewhere. I can see. I'm just thinking of the Steelers. I can really picture him in the black and gold colors. I just see him going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really, possibly trying to do a quarterback battle between Ben Roethlisberger and Jacoby Brissett. I can honestly see that happening. Other than that, I'm trying to think. I don't know. He's definitely one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL, and he could pretty much go anywhere that needs a solid backup quarterback or a quarterback that gets injured a lot. I think he's better than Chase Daniel. He could go to the Lions. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So all in all, I think Jacoby Brissett should be traded away, or maybe even the Dolphins. That's not a bad option either. You know, that's not a bad. Yeah, I can see him going to the Dolphins. Probably try to battle it out between Ryan Fitzpatrick and himself. But because I don't think Tua should be starting next year. So yeah, quite honestly, I would like Jacoby Brissett to go to the Eagles because Carson Wentz, let's be honest, he has injury problems. At some point in the future, he might get injured again. So I wouldn't hate Jacoby Brissett going to the Eagles. I would love that actually because he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. He's definitely better than Nate Sudfeld and Jalen Hurts. So I would be okay with him going to the Eagles. So all in all, Jacoby Brissett should be traded away somewhere to possibly be a starting quarterback for a couple years, be the bridge quarterback to a future starting quarterback for an NFL franchise. Even the Tennessee Titans, I could see him going there. You know what I mean? Like just in case Ryan Tannehill goes out because he does have injury problems. Another guy who has injury problems. So yeah, I think he should be traded because I don't see the Colts keeping him because they probably want to keep Jacob Eason over Jacoby Brissett. So he should be traded, and I do see him going. Like, the first thing I picture is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know why I see him going to the Steelers so much. I just really picture him in the black and gold. I don't know why. So yeah, that's my prediction. I think he will be traded to the Steelers because I don't see him staying with the Colts. All right, moving on to the news. Our first news topic of the day. Man, I've been dying to talk about this. I'm so happy. The Rock buying the sorry, why did I say the NFL? The XFL. The Rock has bought the XFL. My gosh, I did not see that coming. I'm so happy. The XFL is coming back. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to finish last season. Those XFL players have signed to teams, most notably P.J. Walker signed to the Panthers, Jordan Tamamu signed with the Chiefs. They're probably going to be in the NFL, and P.J. Walker might be the future franchise quarterback for the Panthers after Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I mean? Because they already got a couple teammates of P.J. Walker's. They got Keith Kirkwood, and so P.J. Walker might be the future franchise quarterback of the Panthers, so he's not going to be coming back to the XFL, unfortunately, but I do believe he would have won the XFL MVP. But most likely Josh Johnson's coming back, Cardale Jones, Tyree Jackson, another quarterback, Cam Phillips, I believe he's coming back. I like the XFL so much. I like seeing those underdog players balling it out. I think it's the perfect opportunity to have those guys shine in the XFL. I'm just so happy that the XFL is coming back. Hopefully players like Trace McSorley and underrated guys, Shelton Gibson, a wide receiver. Maybe if the Patriots cut Will Hastings, maybe he can go to the XFL because I love the XFL so much. And it's fun, That's why it's called the Extra Fun League, and the NFL is the No Fun League. So, I think the XFL is really fun. I like how you get to hear the refs. I like how you get to hear the players. It's just a really fun experience. I was a Houston Roughnecks fan. I like that team because I really enjoyed P.J. Walker. Hopefully they keep those teams' names. Maybe they'll expand the team to a couple areas, most notably Philadelphia, because I would like to see an XFL game in Philadelphia. I would like to see it live, and that would be probably my new favorite team along with the Houston Roughnecks. Hopefully they keep the team names, and I'm actually surprised that they chose Tampa Bay over Philadelphia. They chose some weird places to have their XFL team, so hopefully they'll bring their team to Philadelphia because we would take them in a heartbeat because we love football all year round. I would love to watch football all the time, and that's why I like the XFL so much. I like that it's football after the NFL. And unfortunately, we didn't get that because of the stupid coronavirus. I want this to go away so bad. Hopefully, it goes away really soon. They can eliminate it as soon as possible so everything can go back to normal and the NFL play. And we get to actually go to NFL games and hopefully go to other games too, like NBA and MLB games. So, yeah, I'm just hoping. I'm glad that the XFL is coming back. Hopefully, the world doesn't shut down again like it did last time with the XFL. Because that's why it got canceled, because the stupid coronavirus. So, The Rock bought it. Well, that was really surprising. The Rock used to be an NFL player actually, so it's actually kind of funny. Maybe he'll play. I think he played defensive line. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure he played defensive line, The Rock. Before he joined the WWE, he played in the NFL. I think he played a defensive lineman. I'm pretty sure. He was undrafted, though. So, yeah, or maybe we'll see Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar is another guy who played in the NFL before he was in the WWE and UFC. So, maybe he might go to the XFL. So that'd be pretty cool. Most notable, I heard a couple older NFL players like Matt Castle might be joining the XFL this year, which will be pretty exciting because I kind of like Matt Castle. I think he was a solid backup quarterback, an all-right starting quarterback for the Chiefs, and for the Patriots, I think he was just all right. And yeah, I'm so pumped for the XFL to come back. Hopefully they keep all the same team names, most notably the Houston Roughnecks. Hopefully they expand the XFL to most notably Philadelphia, because I would like to see an XFL game live, you know what I mean? Because I'm not traveling anywhere, and not anywhere anytime soon to watch an XFL game, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm really excited that it's coming back. I love the XFL a lot. I think I was one of the only people that liked the XFL, because out of everyone I knew, I was like the only one that was watching it. But it's still really fun. I highly recommend you to watch the XFL once it comes back. They do things that the NFL just are so stubborn about, and they won't do. They have pretty good refs. They're never really they review their penalties and mistakes and whatever, and they actually fix those mistakes, and there aren't any pass interference, bad pass interference calls, you know what I mean? So XFL's come back. I'm really happy to see those underdog guys and older players who don't want to play in the NFL anymore, they could join the XFL. I thought Chad Johnson was going to join the XFL at one point, but unfortunately he did not do that, which is a shame. But maybe Tom Brady, after he's done with the NFL, he'll go to the XFL, you know what I mean? The XFL seems like it was really successful last year until the coronavirus happened, so I'm glad it's coming back. It's funny that The Rock is it's funny that he bought it. I think he bought it for $15 million, $15 billion. I don't know, it's 15 something. So I'm glad that's coming back. I'm excited. I can't wait to watch it. I'll be watching it the first day it comes out. I'll be reviewing it. And yeah, I'm excited. All right. Moving on to news number 2. All right. Oh, Raheem Mostert got his contract restructured, and he's still with the 49ers. I didn't see a scenario where they didn't do that. I mean, I did. There was a possibility. That was I think my number one option for Raheem Mostert to go, to do instead of being traded. I really saw him getting his contract restructured. I was a little optimistic though, because the 49ers seem stubborn about it for some reason. It's weird that you don't want to pay him as much as Telvin Coleman. And he wasn't asking for a lot, you know what I mean? Because $8 million, come on, he deserves it. He led the league in he led the league in average per yards. He had 5.6 average per yards per carry. I mean, and he was pretty solid. He had around 800 yards, ran for 200 yards in a playoff game, which is just insane. And he really deserves it. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. I know he only played for one season, but what he did, and maybe it's a one-hit wonder. Maybe it is, but I just don't see it because people are saying he's gotten better. You know, unless something really bad happens, which I hope to God it doesn't happen, because he's really fast, really elusive. I hope he's kind of old. He's 28. That's kind of old for a running back, but his career's just starting, basically, and I would say he's top 10. I would say he's top 10 because he's able to find those holes and just burst out, you know what I mean? And yeah, so he's gonna be pretty good. Jerick McKinnon, I think he's pretty solid running back. I've always been a fan of Jerick McKinnon. Hopefully he comes back to a 100%. And Jerick McKinnon, Raheem Mostert are going to be sharing the snaps, along with Telvin Coleman, who's just all right. He's pretty good. He's not oh my God or anything. He's just a solid running back. And yeah, he's hit his ceiling. He's not going to get any better. What you see is what you get with Telvin Coleman, and it's probably going to be between those three. Jeff Wilson Jr. is probably going to be in the starting lineup for the running back position. So it's going to be between 4 running backs. They don't have Matt Breida this year, so Raheem Mostert he's probably going to play for a whole season this year, along with Jerick McKinnon playing the second majority of the snaps. And because Jerick McKinnon is more of a guy who could catch the ball. He's more of a receiving back, but he still has pretty good elusiveness. So I'm pretty sure Raheem Mostert is going to beat out Jerick McKinnon, obviously because of the injuries. But I'm saying moving forward, I think Raheem Mostert will be the running back for the 49ers for quite a while. And I'm glad that he got his contract restructured. He does deserve it. Even if he doesn't do well this season, he deserves it. Because he's one of the main reasons that they made it to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So you had to do that. It's just disrespectful to not do that. And I'm glad that he did. I'm a fan of Raheem Mostert, and hopefully he does pretty good next year. So all in all, this is good news for the 49ers. Good news for Raheem Mostert. Guys pay. He deserves it. And everyone came out. Everything went good in the end. Luckily, he didn't get traded. I was hoping that he was going to get traded to the Eagles, because I would have been really excited. I would have been really excited for that. Fortunately, he did not. But fortunately, he's staying with the 49ers. That's where he belongs. It's a good system. And yeah, all in all, it's great. All right, moving on. Moving on to news number 3. Derrick Henry got his contract restructured for another 4 more years worth $50 million. Now, I'm a fan. I do like Derrick Henry. He is a really good running back. He reminds me a lot of Beast Mode in a lot of ways. But I feel like he's just not as explosive as he could be. People are just afraid to tackle him. Like, I think eventually once people stop being afraid to tackle him, Derrick Henry's flaws are going to show. Because he did have a lot of issues in the beginning, but he's bulked up. He's bulking up every year. Does he deserve to have... I think he should have played on the franchise tag. I honestly do, because he did struggle in the past, and it doesn't seem that as explosive as he should have been. He did have a big he did have a lot to do with the Tennessee Titans' success. He had 50% to do with the Tennessee Titans' success last year. He contributed a lot. He did lead the league in rushing yards, but I don't know. He didn't seem that explosive. You know what I mean? It just seemed like people were just afraid to tackle him. There was a lot of moments where I was expecting him to explode, and it seems like he was kind of holding back, you know? And not all the time. Majority of the time it didn't seem that way, but I did see a lot of plays where it seemed like he was holding back because he was afraid to be tackled or something. Something was off, you know what I mean? So I think he should have played on the franchise tag. That's just my honest opinion. No disrespect to Derrick Henry. He did rush for a ton of yards. He was pretty good last season. I just think they should have given him another year before they paid him the big bucks. You know what I mean? So you don't want another Chris Johnson situation where once he got paid, he started to tank a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that doesn't happen to Derrick Henry. It doesn't end up being like Chris Johnson. Even though they're two different type of running backs, they both work for the Tennessee Titans, and they seem like they're going down the same situation. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Derrick Henry, I think he should have played on the franchise tag. And so yeah, hopefully he earns up to the contract. Hopefully everything ends up being all right, and maybe he'll have another year like he did last year. He's still a pretty good running back, and I just don't know if he should have been paid that much money. I think he should have been. I think he should have played on the franchise. I think he should have played on the franchise tag, but he didn't. They paid him. It was a mistake. We'll find out this year, and yeah, pretty good. And it seems like Tennessee Titans fans are happy, and we'll see how that ends up working out for them. All right, we're moving on to the segment of today. Today we have What If, and we got two what ifs to talk about today, and let's get into it. What if? Alright, in this episode of What If, we're going to be talking about what if Malcolm Butler didn't What if Malcolm Butler played in Super Bowl 52? Would have that made a difference? And we're going to be talking about Drew Brees. What if Drew Brees never left the Chargers? What if Philip Rivers never ended up replacing Drew Brees? All right, let's talk about Malcolm Butler first. What if Malcolm Butler played in Super Bowl 52? Would the Patriots, would they have won Super Bowl 52 if Malcolm Butler played instead of Eric Rowe? And short answer is no. I mean, they would have won. I think they would have lost more, actually, because if you heard what was going on before the game happened, Malcolm Butler was apparently not in a lot of practices. He wasn't healthy. He seemed like he was sick. He had some kind of illness. And Eric Rowe is he's a solid player. He picked off, he had a pick six against, because now he's with the Dolphins. He had a pick six against Tom Brady last year. He had a pick six, and it's really rare for Tom Brady to throw a pick six, and he was one of those players. So Eric Rowe was a solid player. But I think if Malcolm Butler was 100% healthy and 100% ready to go during Super Bowl 52, I still don't think they would have won. I still don't think. So I don't think it would have made a difference. And I think if Malcolm Butler was 100% healthy and did play, I think the score would be a lot closer. I think Nick Foles wouldn't have played as well as he did. But I still think the Philadelphia Eagles still would have won it in the end, because they did better plays than the Patriots offense did. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what I honestly think. I don't think Eric Rowe played that bad during Super Bowl 52. I thought he played pretty solid. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I don't think it would have made a difference. All in all, the Eagles still would have won Super Bowl 52. But if Malcolm Butler did play and it was in the same exact conditions, I think the Eagles would have done better. But if Malcolm Butler was 100% healthy and 100% ready to go, I think the Eagles would struggle a little bit on offense more than they did in the real Super Bowl 52. But I think the Eagles will still come out on top in the end. All right, moving on to the other what if, and this one's an interesting one. What if Drew Brees never left the Chargers, and what if he never injured his shoulder and left the Chargers and move on to the Saints? Well, first off, Drew Brees would have. I don't think he would have won a Super Bowl. I don't think that would have happened. And Philip Rivers, he probably would have ended up playing for the Saints. So I don't think Drew Brees would have ever won a Super Bowl. Maybe he would still be playing right now. You know, he used to be pretty good under pressure, because his offensive line was always pretty bad down in San Diego. I think he would have done pretty good if as the franchise quarterback of the Chargers, but I don't think he would have ever won a Super Bowl. And I think he would have had I think he still would have had a Hall of Fame career, because almost his whole career he didn't have great receivers until like now, you know what I mean? Until his like later years, you know? So I don't think he would have won a Super Bowl, but he still would have been a Hall of Fame quarterback. He still would have. He still would have put crazy numbers, crazy completions. He's also a great leader too. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think he would have won the Super Bowl, which is a shame. I think the Chargers probably would have won more playoff games, because Philip Rivers has never been that great in the playoffs, and I think that's just him as a player instead of the team around him. I think Antonio Gates would probably be a better tight end, like statistics-wise. I think he would have been a better tight end, Antonio Gates. And I think the Chargers would have been a lot better overall as a team if Drew Brees ended up staying with that franchise. So that's pretty much all I got to say about that. I think the Chargers would have been better with Drew Brees instead of Philip Rivers as the quarterback, if he continued to be the quarterback for the Chargers. So, yeah. Alright, that's all we got for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode as always. Once again, this shouldn't be like this for long. It's going to be like this for at least a month, this setup with my computer camera. And I think next time I'm going to probably use the same background as I usually use. This is just what's going to be for quite a while, for at least a couple of episodes. Hopefully this comes out soon. Today is the 18th when I'm filming this. Hopefully this comes out on the 19th at least, because yeah, because I want to get these I want to get to at least episode 20. That's my goal. I want to get to episode 20 before Madden 25. Sorry, before Madden 21 comes out on the 25th. So that's my goal. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, I will see you on the next one.